Hello boys and girls. Today we are going to be learning how to calculate speed. So first of all, what is speed? Speed is the rate at which an object or person is moving. We usually think about speed as how fast is that object or person going. This is different from velocity. Velocity is the speed of an object or person and the direction. So if I said a car was moving at 120 miles per hour, that would be the speed. The velocity would be 120 miles per hour east. All right, so have you ever thought about miles per hour and why when you're driving in a car, it's called miles per hour? So speed is calculated by using the distance an object traveled and the time it took to travel that distance. So you can see here that we have a formula, and this is the formula that we will use to calculate speed. Speed equals distance divided by time. It's really important that you put that formula in your notebook because we're going to be using it in just a second. Speed is distance divided by time. So that makes sense when we think about miles per hour because miles are our distance and hour would be the time. So speed miles per hour, distance divided by time. So something to note in your notebook before we move on, if you don't already know these are common abbreviations for the units that we are going to be using. It is so important that you never forget your units when we're talking about speed. When you're solving problems for speed or distance or time, you always need to make sure you put your units, because if we're talking about miles per hour and you don't put down a unit or you put down the wrong unit, we could be thinking about kilometers per minute. And those are two totally different units. So it's always important that you put down those abbreviations. So if you need to, take a minute to pause the video and write down these abbreviations in your notebook. Okay, so we're going to jump right in and we're going to solve for speed. So if you remember the formula that we just wrote down in our notebook, we said speed is distance divided by time. So let's read our problem and see if we can pull out these elements. Alex rode his bike for 12 miles in 2 hours. How fast was he going? So first of all, the question is asking us to figure out how fast Alex was going, and fast is speed. So we are solving for the speed Alex was traveling. So we know that the speed, let's fix that. We know that the speed is unknown. We don't know that. Our distance, we need to know the distance in order to solve this problem. Our distance, he rode his bike for 12 miles. So 12 miles is his distance. His time that he traveled was 2 hours. So that means that I'm going to plug these numbers into our formula. So distance, 12, divided by his time, 2. You could also write it like this. 12 divided by 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So I know his speed was 6. And we remember we need to figure out the unit. We know that he drove miles and hours. So that means his speed was 6 miles per hour. Pretty simple, right? All you have to do is just plug it into the formula. All right, so since we did a problem about solving for speed, what happens if we get a problem that it has a missing measurement for one of the other measurements? So we know that our three important things are speed, distance, and time. And the formula that we just practiced with was this one right here. Speed equals distance divided by time. I have here this speed triangle, and you should also have this resource glued into your notebook. This speed triangle is going to help you tremendously because we do have 3 different formulas right here, and it would be kind of difficult to remember all 3 formulas. You might get them a little mixed up. So the easiest way to remember this is by drawing the triangle. The triangle starts out at the very top with distance. Distance is the one at the very top. And then we have speed and time side by side. So if you think about distance on the top and this line right here, when we were writing it before, remember that last problem we had 12 divided by 2? This line here means divide. So that's how I like to think of it. I like to think of this line right here as a division symbol. So that means that if I had the distance and I was solving for maybe the time, I would have to do distance divided by speed. See here? Or maybe I had the distance and I have the time. I need to do distance divided by time so I can find the speed. All right, what if I was missing the distance? Well, since distance is on the top and then we have speed and time, I like to think of this line right here as a multiplication symbol. So that means if I'm missing the distance, I need to do speed times time in order to find out that distance. So this triangle is going to help you so much because everything is right here. All you have to remember is the order in these numbers, and it tells you exactly what operations you need to do to figure that out. So let's practice that. All right, so we have some missing measurements here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw that speed triangle on the top in the corner of my paper so that I can remember that. Now, it's okay if you do time or speed in either of these. It doesn't really matter as long as you have distance on top. That's the important one. All right, the first question says, how long does it take a bird to fly 300 kilometers if it travels a speed of 50 kilometers per hour? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the speed, distance, and time. Okay, so I know speed. In this problem, does it give me speed? It does give me the speed. The speed is 50 kilometers per hour. So I'm going to, whoops, I keep doing that. I'm going to write that here. Speed is 50 kilometers per hour. Time. Let's see. Do I know the time in this problem? Well, it's telling me right here, how long does it take a bird? I know how long usually means time. So that means I do not know the time in this problem. That's my unknown. Distance. Well, it says how long does it take a bird to fly 300 kilometers. I know 300 kilometers is a distance, so that means my distance is 300 kilometers. Now all I have to do to figure out my time is plug those numbers into my speed triangle. And I'm actually going to draw the triangle again right here, but this time I'm going to plug in the numbers. Distance goes up at the top. That is 300. My time is unknown, but my speed is 50. So remember, we think of this line right here as a division symbol, so that means we're going to do 300 divided by 50. Okay, and I know that 300 divided by 50 is 6. So that means 6 is our answer, but 6 what? Well, let's go back to that original problem. We have kilometers per hour, and we have kilometers. Let's see, what would our distance, our unit of time be? Has to be hours. So that means that it takes the bird 6 hours to fly 300 kilometers with the speed of 50 kilometers per hour. Not that bad. The next one, if a train is traveling at 50 miles per hour and it takes the train 2 hours to reach its destination, how far did it travel? Same thing like what I did with the above problem. I'm going to pull out the speed, time, and distance. Okay, speed in my problem. 50 miles per hour, it says right here. Anytime I see miles per hour, kilometers per hour, miles per minute, those types of things are always going to be my speed. So my speed is 50 miles per hour. My time, the train is traveling for 2 hours. Hours are a unit of time, so I know that time equals 2 hours, which means our distance, how far did it travel, is what's missing. Draw that speed triangle. Distance always goes on the top, so that's a question mark because I don't know what it is. So speed was 50 and time is 2. This line in the middle means multiply, so that means 50 times 2 will give me my answer. Okay, so that means that our train traveled for 100 somethings. what would our unit be? Let's go back to our problem. We know that it's miles per hour, and we have 2 hours, so that means our missing measurement has to be miles. So that means that the train traveled 100 miles. Okay, it's time to solve these problems on your own. Go ahead and pause the video, solve the problems, and then replay the video to check your answer. All right, so hopefully you're ready to check your answer. Let's start with the first problem. A car drives a speed of 60 kilometers per hour. How far will it travel in 4 hours? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the speed, direction, and time. So our speed in this problem is 60 kilometers per hour. Our distance is unknown, and our time is 4 hours. So if I draw my speed triangle, the distance is unknown at the top there. Our speed is 60, and our time is 4. This line right here means multiply, which means that I'm going to do 60 times 4, which will give me 240. And our unit, if our speed is 60 kilometers per hour, and we have our hours here, that means the kilometers are missing, so that means the car travels 240 kilometers. In the second problem, John rides his bike for 30 minutes and travels 60 meters. What was his speed? Our speed is what's missing here. Our distance is 60 meters, and our time is 30 minutes. Let's draw our speed triangle. Okay, so 60 goes at the top here, and 30 goes at the bottom down here. This line means divide, so 60 divided by 30 is 2, so that means he was going 2. Now let's look back for what our unit will be. He's traveling in minutes and meters, so that means he's doing 2 minutes per meter.